Have you ever felt that when you get really nervous, you can feel your heartbeat? Or ever been so scared that you can hear a drop of water in the distance? Or when you're sitting in the locker room before the biggest game of your life and the hair on your arm sticks up and you get the chills? Well, that's normal. It's the adrenaline running through your veins that caused this. This is a photo of me diving off a commercial beach at about 50 feet of water. That's me in the background over there with the blue fins. Anyways, one time I was scuba diving 70 feet of water with a buddy. I hear a buzzing sound coming from the computer that is synced in with the amount of air I have left in my tank. That buzzing sound was telling me I have a leak in my tank because the amount of air is dropping way too fast. I look at my gauge and I have about 200 psi left, or in other words, about 12 to 15 breaths. With the leak, maybe 3 to 4. My body gets warm, my mind flutters with thoughts, my eyes scan the area. What do? My dive buddy was nowhere to be seen, and I was 70 feet below the surface. I can't just go up, because if I go up too quickly, I can get an air bubble that can kill me or leave me paralyzed. Or I can get decompression sickness, which is severe enough, it can kill me. So I take a breath, make a judgment call, and I head for the surface. As I head up, I see my buddy on the other side of the reef. I take another breath, I swim as fast as I can, and I rip his spare regulator out of his vest. As I take the most amazing, deepest breath ever, my air gauge is buzzing nonstop, telling me I have no air left. During those couple of minutes underwater, a lot of things happened inside of me. My heartbeat increased, my lungs and my veins expanded, and my eyes dilated. It's all part of a survival mechanism called the fight or flight response. When we are under extreme stress, our bodies instinctively react and we gain seemingly supernatural powers, like the story of Supermom who lifted a car because of her kid was trapped underneath. So let's get a closer look as to how this works. When you get scared or nervous, the hypothalamus in your brain sends a signal to your sympathetic nervous system to become more alert and harder to inflict pain. Yet you become so sensitive and you can feel anything that you come into contact with. Then your adrenal cortex activates, the more than 30 hormones involved in the body in this response. However, I'm only going to talk about 3: cortisol, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. Cortisol is a hormone in your body that stimulates metabolic functions, suppresses the immune system, and increases the blood sugar in your body. In other words, it adds more energy. The second hormone is norepinephrine. Norepinephrine makes your brain alert and focused. Norepinephrine is what ADHD pills like Adderall target to help people to get focused at school and work. This hormone also shuts down the other systems in your body that are not important at the time, like your urinary and digestive systems. The last hormone is epinephrine, or is most commonly known as adrenaline. Adrenaline has many functions in your body. Most importantly, it increases the blood flow to your muscles by more than 300%, increases your heart rate, and dilates your pupils. Have you ever felt a sudden chill throughout your body and your hair and your arms stick up? Or what about how people turn white with fear? Well, that's because your blood flow is directed away from your skin and into your muscles. The blood in your skin makes us feel warm and gives us color. So when the blood is directed away from our skin, it makes us feel cold and makes us white. The increased heart rate from adrenaline allows more of the oxygen in our blood into the brain to help us think faster and make our muscles stronger. And finally, it dilates our pupils. It expands our pupils, or the black part in the center of your eye, so we can absorb more light, which allows us to help us see clearly in the dark. And just as a side note, this is why during takeoffs and landings on an airplane, the cabin lights are dimmed so that your pupils are already dilated in case of an emergency. Believe it or not, we can control this fight or flight reaction and use it to our advantage. When we look back at my scuba diving story, I survived because I was able to be in control during this fight or flight response that was automatically triggered. And I believe that this is because of my extensive training both as a diver and as an athlete. As an athlete, you learn to control the butterflies in your stomach and the countless thoughts running through your mind before and during a game. When you're taking diving lessons, the instructor puts you in situations similar to what I experienced, and it trains you to react, but with control. Our fight or flight response is a conserved aspect of the human body for thousands of years. This response was fantastic at keeping us from becoming prey back when we were being hunted by saber-toothed tigers and woolly mammoths. But now in the modern era, we don't really need it because we live in a comfort zones and relative safety. The only stress we really have is mental and emotional stress. Let's say, for instance, that you're working in a cubicle and your boss says, "Can I have a word with you in my office?" As you're walking in, your heart rate increases, your hair stands up, and your mouth gets dry. You sit down, and your boss turns and says, "I want to give you a promotion." This may be good news, but sitting down with so much adrenaline pumping that you're about to bounce off the walls is not a good thing. Too many stress responses in a non-threatening environment can lead to countless stress and anxiety problems, heart issues, and immune issues. According to Darwin's evolutionary laws, the population with a trait that hampers its ability to survive will be selected against in the evolutionary process, meaning the organisms with a disadvantage will die off, thus causing evolutions. Humans are complex and resilient. We adapted to survive in the prehistoric era, but I also think we will adapt to change to the technological era. because so many of us suffer from mental and emotional disorders. Our stress response is so intricate and fine-tuned, it baffles me. All it takes is something to throw us off our guard, and we're ready to fight like Bruce Lee or run like Usain Bolt. Sometimes I wonder if an all-knowing God is the only possible explanation for packing hundreds of pounds of extremely complex microbes to work in a uniform fashion, or if it was the thousands of years of evolution that fine-tuned us to become the apex predator of the planet. I don't know the answer. Thinking about it stresses me out. But what I do know is that you're stronger than what you think. Thank you.